Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Coaching Corner. I am Jamila, aka the IEP Coach, and welcome to the Coaching Corner. We go live every Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and y'all know Tuesdays are my favorite day of the week because I get to come on and talk to you guys. We talk about all things special education, and I always leave time for you to ask your questions. But before we go any further, share out this live with as many people as possible. And as I'm telling you to share it out, I'm sharing it out as well. I hope everyone is having a great day. I know some people, the weather's changing. It's Philly need to make his mind up. Like, it's hot, it's warm, it's cold, and it's warm and it's cold, and it's like allergies is starting to bother me. I'm like, make your mind up, please. But anyway, I am enjoying the weather though. So, all right, let's share it out. I just want to make sure we are clear on all of our platforms. Yes, we are. Wa alaikum assalam. How are you? Thank you so much for tuning in. All right. And everyone can hear me? You can just put a thumbs up in the chat that you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up or just tell me, yes, you can hear me. Because I don't want no problems. Let me know if you can hear me. All right. I think we're good. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Now, for anyone who was unable to join our webinar request to results, where we taught you how to make an IEP evaluation request, and you want to take advantage of the webinar, don't worry. I'm going to put the link here for you to purchase it for yourself. You get the toolkit and the webinar. Oh, here it is. Sorry, I put it in the wrong. I didn't even put it in the chat. Here you go. You get the toolkit and you get the webinar, or you can just get the toolkit by itself. There's the link for you. And this is our anniversary month for Because of Her. Oh my gosh. Like, we wrote Because of Her in 2018. This is our anniversary month, and we are like so excited. We are planning a special live. It's going to be the last Tuesday of this month, so just stay tuned. We're going to share the information for it. So don't worry, we got a special guest. I'm not going to tell you who the guest is, but I can't wait. For anyone who's new to our page, Because of Her is the story that we wrote about what it was like growing up with a sibling with a disability, and we tell it from the sibling's perspective because that is an experience and a journey that does not get a lot of attention because siblings are impacted just as much as the parents are. So I talk about what it was like growing up with my younger sister, and I just go about the different experiences that I had and the impact she's had on my life. So if you would like to go ahead and purchase that book, I'm going to go ahead and drop the link in the chat for you. Let me make sure I got the correct link. Hold up. Make sure I got the right link for you guys. I don't want you guys going to the wrong page, so I'm going to make sure I get the correct link for you guys. But yes, this is our anniversary month. I can't believe it's been that long. And if had I not wrote that book, we wouldn't have the IEP Coach LLC because yes, this company came from me writing that book. I had no desire to I didn't have a desire to, be an IEP coach and to go into all this. So I had no desire for it. It wasn't until after I, wrote the book, and I was just like, "Oh, I think I want to I think I like this work." And I liked supporting people with educating them about the IEP and all of that, and doing PDs and doing coaching and all that. So if it wasn't for that book, if it wasn't for her, it's all because of her. All right. So here is the link. I'm going to go ahead and drop it in my comment section for you guys to go ahead and take advantage. There is the link right there. All right. So today, oh, let me do it on Instagram too. My bad, guys. All right. So here is that's the link for the book. Those of you on Instagram, and also you can click the link in the bio and get a copy of the book as well. And also here's the link. Instagram. You can click the link in the bio for the request to results webinar if you missed it. You can go ahead and definitely get that. And you can click the link in the bio and get it. Okay. All right. So today we're going to talk about exiting students from special education. And I know that is something that is not discussed a lot, but it does actually happen. Students do get exited from special education. And you may be wondering, like, well, what do you mean they get exited from special education? So what I mean by that is students whose IEP has worked for them, they have mastered their goals, they are showing mastery in their areas of need, they qualify to be exited from special education. Now, a school can recommend the school can recommend that the student be exited from special education. A parent can recommend that their child be exited from special education. I just want to go through what you need to do if a student um, can be exited from special education, and why some parents will exit their children from special education. Okay. So, like I said, when a student has an IEP, the IEP lists all their services, all of their the goals, everything that they need to help them thrive in their education. Their IEP will list it. Okay. Now, through progress monitoring, this is how the case manager will keep track of how are they doing with those goals. This is how related service providers will keep track. How are they doing with their goals? Are they improving? Are they regressing? Progress monitoring helps us to see if the student is regressing, meaning they're moving backwards, or if they are progressing, meaning they're moving forward, they are increasing, they are steadily making progress. Now, when a student is consistently, I want to say they are consistently improving, getting better and better with their area of need to the point where they're mastering it, they're hitting their targets consistently, that's listed in the IEP, then you may need to review all of the data to see, does this student qualify to, is this a good student who needs to be exited from special education? Now, I want to say in my career, I may have exited maybe 3 students over the course of my career. And this is a student, some students had academic needs, and one student, he had behavioral needs. Okay. So when we were considering exiting the student, I had to look at all of the student data from that year, the previous year. I had to look at all of the data. Okay, so I'm looking at all the progress monitoring that I collected that year and the previous year. I'm looking at it because I want to make sure that this student was consistently hitting the targets, not just once or twice, that it was consistent, not inconsistent. Okay. Then, I was talking to the teachers, seeing how the student was doing. And when I looked at the data and talked to the students, I saw how we were decreasing the amount of behavior support we were giving this particular student, to the point he only had check-ins. you know. And so after talking with his related service provider, because he was receiving counseling in school, and the amount of time was just being decreased and being decreased, we talked about exiting him. And then also we talked with the IEP team, which includes the parent and his teachers, and we talked with the psychologist. Okay, so when a student is being exited from special education, the team has to agree, especially the parent has to agree, because that's their child. They have to agree that yes, my child is making progress. Yes, they are no longer in need of these services. Okay, now if you have your data, everybody's in agreement, parent is in agreement, you also best practice, and this was told to me by a psychologist. Best practice is to have a reevaluation done to show that the student has no needs, is showing no needs of support, no needs for additional support. And this also is additional data to back up why the student needs to be exited. Okay. So once we did that, and I also having the reevaluation also helps parents. They feel more comfortable too, because it's like, okay, this other layer of data is showing that my child no longer needs an IEP. Okay. Then you do a no rep, and on a no rep, you list that student is being exited from special education. You list all your reasons, you list all your documentation that you use to make this determination. um Parent will sign, and the student will be exited from special education. Now, sometimes I've had parents come to me and request that their child be exited from special education, and there have been times I've had to push back with some parents, to say, your child is still in need of these special education services that they've received from their IEP. And sometimes parents will push to get their child's IEP removed if they want them to get into a particular school. So I've had parents who um child was in a public school, but then they were transferring their child to a private school, or to a private school, and it was like, okay, I don't want my child to have the IEP going to the private school, or because private schools aren't obligated to follow the IEP, so they're like, oh, I want you to take this off my child. But I'm like, your child needs the support. um I've had parents do that. I've also had parents, sometimes, a kid gets to a certain age, they're like, listen, I don't feel like I need an IEP no more. I don't feel like I need this help anymore. And parents will advocate for their children. My child feels like they don't need it anymore. I feel like they don't need it anymore. um and there are times you may have to have a meeting with the team just to see, okay, do we need to decrease, do we need to take it all the way away, do we need to take the entire IEP away, or do we need to just decrease the level of service? Because when students get a certain age, they're like, listen, I'm not trying to be pulled out. I don't need it. They don't want to be singled out or anything like that, and they feel like, well, I don't need this. I don't need to be getting pulled out. And that is another reason why some parents will push for their child to be exited from special education. So sometimes it is the student expressing to their parent, I don't need this support no more. And then also sometimes when a parent is enrolling their child into another school, that it could be a private school, or it could be a school where they feel like, if it's listed that my child has an IP, that may hinder their chances of getting into the school, that they will request that the IEP be removed. But it's not an easy thing. I don't want no one thinking like, oh my God, I can just go in and say, oh, I don't want this for my child no more. No, you have to have documentation. We have to have documentation, because let's say you exit a kid and they still needed the IEP, that's legal. That's legal. You can come back to the school where you exited my child and da da da. This is why we collect data and everything. And just like, even if a child is exited and we feel the child may still need the services, but the parent disagrees, and the parent, still pushes to get it removed, we documented in the IEP that, hey, we document everything. The school feels that the student still requires, special education services, XYZ. Parent strongly feels that, their child is no longer in need. We document all of it because we don't want anything to come back on us. And then with anything, you want to make sure that you have data to support the recommendation. Okay. I just wanted to come on and talk a little bit about that, because you don't hear about it too much. And some people didn't even know that that was a thing, that existed. Oh, students can actually be exited from special education. They most certainly can. The IEP is not meant for the rest of your life, the rest of your education. For some students, depending on their needs, they may have it all the way throughout their entire education. And for some students, they just need it for a certain amount of time. Okay. Does anybody have questions? Definitely put your questions in the comments for me. I'm going to give you time to type your questions. I know it takes a while to type, so if you have questions, go ahead and put it in the comments. Put your questions in the comments. I'm going to check LinkedIn here. Hold up. Let's see. Anybody got questions? Does anybody have questions? Let me see. Let's double check. Okay, I don't see no questions on IG. Let me check everywhere else. Okay, I don't see any I don't see any questions. I am going to drop the links that I shared earlier. If you missed our request to results webinar, I'm going to drop that link for you. And also, if you want to purchase your copy of Because of Her, I am going to drop that as well. So I'm going to drop the toolkit first. And then I'm going to go ahead and drop the link for if you want to get your copy of Because of Her. I am going to drop that next. Okay. Alrighty. Any questions while I am putting the link in the chat? Oh, wait, let me put this to all destinations. Any questions? Put them in the chat. Put them in the comment section. All righty. Product dash. Oops. I'll make sure everything's spelled. Oh, that's spelled wrong. All right, here's the link. About to drop it right now. All right, there it is. I just dropped it in the comment section. So if we don't have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and start closing out. If you are catching this on the replay, put hashtag replay in the comments if you are catching this on the replay. Also, if the question comes to you after we end the live, feel free to DM us or message us. We are very responsive. With your questions or concerns. And also stay tuned because we are having our anniversary Because of Her special live at the end of this month, the last Tuesday of this month. And we're going to have a special guest. I cannot wait for you guys, to just to celebrate with us, So again, stay tuned. And if you have any questions, definitely DM us. And as always, stay safe, Be kind to yourself and give yourselves grace. You only can do what you are capable of doing. All right. You guys have an amazing evening, and we will see you all next Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.